34 long years.
बस आज तो बेहतरीन कदम है, इंशाल्लाह ऐसा ही होना चाहिए। गवर्नमेंट को नहीं चाहिए कि इन जुलूसों पर पाबंदी लगाए, क्योंकि ये कोई ऐसा जुलूस नहीं है जो किसी के खतरे में हो। ये पूरा अमन जुलूस है।
Will Kashmiri Pandits be able to return home? Is this the defeat of Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror? Naya Kashmir rising, that's our top focus on India First.
So there are major developments that are taking place. No stone pelting in the valley, no buns, no hartals, no hurriyat, no peddling of Pakistan's agenda, at least for now, at least not openly. Kashmir does appear to be changing after modification of Article 370. But is it too premature to declare victory on Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror? Many argue that sleeper cells remain active and pro-Pakistan elements, so these radical Islamists, they're yet to be completely weeded out. Election process is yet to take place. And the biggest test of Kashmiriyat, the return of Kashmiri Hindus to their homeland. Will we see that happen? Has Kashmir defeated that terror mindset? Will Kashmir return to its Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb, or is that a one-way stream? We will find out. I'm Gaurav Sawant. As always, let's get started with the headlines on India First. Central Bureau of Investigation files 6 FIRs in Manipur violence case. Fresh FIR to be filed on the gang rape charge. Sources say 6 rounds of talks between Kuki and Meitei groups have taken place. 3 accused students granted anticipatory bail in the Udupi College controversy. BJP takes to the streets in protest, demands an impartial probe from the Siddaramaiah government. BJP intensifies Mission South 2024. Union Minister Amit Shah and Tamil Nadu BJP President K. Annamalai flag off a 6-month-long Makkal Padyatra in Tamil Nadu's Rameshwaram. Delhi University student murdered in broad daylight, allegedly by a jilted lover. Body left in a pool of blood in a South Delhi park. 1 accused arrested. Delhi's Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal blames the Lieutenant Governor and the centre for lack of security. Former US President Donald Trump faces a new charge in the classified documents investigation. Trump now accused of asking a staffer to erase CCTV footage from his Florida estate. The Muharram procession was taken out on its traditional route in Srinagar after a gap of more than 30 years. It had stopped when Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terrorists had spread their terror tentacles across the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. Is this a sign of return to normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir? Amarnath Yatra saw more than 3,69,000 pilgrims so far, and there is still 1 month to go. More than this number is much more than the last numbers. The numbers are also expected to go higher. This is a big boost to religious tourism in Kashmir. But these are only signs. The litmus test. Will the litmus test be the return of Kashmiri Hindus to their homeland? Ashraf Wani brings you our top story on India First.
History is created in Jammu and Kashmir. On the 27th day of the Amarnath Yatra, the number of devotees has reached close to 3.69 lakhs and broke previous year's record, which was 3.65 lakh. Despite the bad weather, the enthusiasm among the devotees is high. Badminton player Saina Nehwal, Bollywood actress Sara Ali Khan were among the pilgrims who took the yatra.
आज मुझे बहुत ब्लेस्ड फील हो रहा है कि मुझे एक्चुअल में दर्शन हो गए हैं मम्मी के साथ एंड आई वुड लाइक टू थैंक अमरनाथ श्राइन बोर्ड और ऑब्वियसली जो मिलिट्री वाले इतने सारे हमारी मदद करते हैं वहाँ पे तो बहुत ही अच्छे से हो गए एंड वेरी वेरी सेटिस्फाइड.
The government has pulled out all stops to make the yatra a success. The Border Roads Organization launched Project Beacon and widened the roads, installing strong handrails and railings. Security was tightened after the 2019 Pulwama terrorist attack. Road opening parties are deployed as part of a multi-tier security grid in and around places where pilgrims would gather.
The Shrine Board of Amarnath and J&K government has made elaborate arrangements this year for the Amarnath Yatra. That is why not only more than 3 lakh pilgrims have already performed the Amarnath Yatra, but in fact there are hopes that this year the record number of pilgrims will be visiting Holy Amarnath Cave.
In another achievement for the government, Muharram was observed in Jammu and Kashmir after decades. 8 processions were allowed in Srinagar after a gap of 34 years.
शिया मुसलमान श्रीनगर शहर के लाल चौक से 8 मुहर्रम को जुलूस निकालते थे, जिस पर 1990 से प्रतिबंध लगा हुआ था. अब की बार सरकार ने हालात को देखते हुए प्रतिबंध हटाया. हाँ, इतना ज़रूर था कि मुहर्रम के जुलूस के चलते लाल चौक के भीतर आम लोगों की आवाजाही पर रोक थी.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है हमको कि गवर्नमेंट ने अच्छा फैसला लिया, ऐसा डिसीजन लिया. गवर्नमेंट को भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं था, ये खाली इशू बना दिया था, बाकी कुछ नहीं था.
The BJP claims these are proof of the improvement in the law and order situation in Jammu and Kashmir.
मुहर्रम का जुलूस निकलना अपने आप में दर्शाता है कि कश्मीर के हालात बदले हैं. शांति व्यवस्था वहाँ पर बनी है. सब समाज मिलकर के रहें, इस प्रकार का एक वातावरण. इनकी राजनीतिक दुकानदारी बंद हुई है क्योंकि ये चाहते थे कि डिवाइड एंड रूल वाला ये आपस में बंटे रहे और हम राज करते रहें, और लोग अब समझने लगे.
अब प्रोसेशन यहाँ पे निकला, हम अप्रिशिएट यहाँ पे करते हैं कि उन मुहर्रम के सिलसिले में उनको अपनी रिलीजियस जो फीलिंग थी उन्होंने एक्सप्रेस की. यहाँ पे सिलेक्टिव किलिंग का शिकार यहाँ पे होते हैं, टारगेटिंग किलिंग का शिकार यहाँ पे होते हैं. आज ये कहना कि अगर ये सब कुछ ठीक ठाक अगर भाजपा ने किए हैं तो फिर चुनाव क्यों नहीं.
The centre says Jammu and Kashmir is heading towards the path of growth and development after abrogation of Article 370. Successful Amarnath Yatra and Muharram procession sure are signs of change in the valley. With Ashraf Fani in Kashmir, Bureau Report, India Today.
So the signs are there, but is it too premature to declare victory over Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror and that mindset? Would these developments have been possible without the modification, or as many argue, the abrogation of Article 370? And equally important, the Balakot bombing, where India imposed massive costs on Pakistan's military jihad complex. But will the real test of Kashmiriyat be the return of Kashmiri Hindus to their homeland? Joining me on India First is Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain, former Kashmir Corps commander. Also with me is Salman Nizami, a senior political activist and chief spokesperson of the DPAP in Jammu and Kashmir. And Irfan Hafiz Loan is a lawyer and activist. And I want to begin by asking you, Irfan Hafiz Loan, Muharram procession after 3 decades. Is this perhaps a visible sign of the defeat of Pakistan's terror ideology in Jammu and Kashmir, sir?
See, Gaurav Sawant, it's a matter of satisfaction. It's okay. But by no stretch of imagination we can say it's an achievement or it's a substitute to political settlement of Kashmir. Kashmir is eagerly waiting for a political settlement within framework of Indian Constitution through dialogue. We are eagerly
Sir, तब तक
waiting for
मुहर्रम नहीं
revocation
मनाएंगे।
of Apsafa. We are
तब
eagerly
तक
waiting
मुहर्रम नहीं
for,
मनाएंगे।
please hold for a while. We are eagerly waiting for revocation of Disturbed Area Act. We are eagerly waiting for release of political prisoners.
कौन
We
है
are
political
eagerly
prisoner इस
waiting
समय
for
जेल में?
restoration of
कौन है?
democracy. See, this act of bluffing won't help. This is
So
not
you are
in
saying
the
Muharram
interest of
procession is an
nation.
act of bluff.
You
Salman
are-
Nizami.
This is act of bluffing,
Okay.
Mr. Gaurav
Salman Nizami,
Sawant.
is this
Try
an
to
act of bluff?
understand Kashmir is
Muharram
not
procession
a
is an
normal.
act of bluff.
This Kashmir is not a normal place. How lakhs of our forces are still deployed here in this distressed place.
तो
Kashmir
पाकिस्तान को
is
कभी
not
गाली दे
normal.
दीजिए ना,
It's a
पाकिस्तान की वजह से हो रहा है वो।
disturbed area. Here is Apsafa, here is PSA, here is Disturbed Area Act. Thousands of people are languishing
But
in jail.
Irfan Hafiz Loan, will
Have
you
some
say
shame.
anything to the
How to
the
protect
source
it?
of the problem?
It's act of bluffing.
Will you comment
Not
on the
going to
source of
help
the
you.
problem, or will that lead to problems for you? The source of the problem is Pakistan, friends across the border. या उनके बारे में बोलने में डर लगता है. Salman Nizami wants to respond.
हमने यहाँ विधानसभा के इलेक्शन देखे हैं.
Salman
10
Nizami.
years ago assembly elections were held.
Salman Nizami wants to respond. Salman Nizami,
What are you
is
talking about?
the Muharram procession is a bluff? Is that also your take? Is there no positive change in Valley after Article 370's modification, sir?
Well, of course, hope has filled the air after the Muharram return. It represents a significant milestone for unity and peace. So, but despite the positive developments, the question is when Kashmiri Pandits will return to the valley. But if we will go through the data, there are recent selective killings in Kashmir in which 3-4 migrant laborers were attacked. Also, a local Muslim Kashmiri was killed. He was an employee of the forest department. So yes, it's a welcome step, and we should all appreciate the government for this step. But the desire for normalcy is evident in the hope for holding assembly elections in J&K. A crucial step in the region's political progress and stability.
Okay.
The promises
Are
which were
these-
made
are
by the
these-
Honorable Home Minister.
Are these positive steps, General Hasnain, in your assessment? The Muharram procession, the Amarnath Yatra, and what do you make of people like Irfan Hafiz Loan saying remove AFSPA, remove Disturbed Area Act, and all that he said, General Hasnain?
See, Gaurav, Irfan Saab can say whatever he wants to. I don't think he understands Kashmir from a security and a strategic perspective. A problem which has been going on here for the better part of the last 34 years, he wants that before everything is stabilized, he wants all the parameters which are responsible for the secure situation today to be removed. Now let me go one by one.
Yes.
The Muharram procession. Let me tell you, I did this in Patan and in Uri and places like that, but I could never even think of doing this in Srinagar. Srinagar is far too important. We provided security 10, 12 years ago to do this in other areas. But Srinagar was the crux. And we knew that in Srinagar, a procession of this size, or the number of processions of this size, could not go unhindered by terrorists and other activity in the streets. It was only endangering the people and only creating a problem for ourselves. The fact that this has gone about peacefully today is a huge achievement. But I continue to say this is work in progress.
Yes.
This is work in progress. I am the last one who will certify to tell you that everything is hunky-dory in Jammu and Kashmir. No. This is a hybrid war. मैं इरफान साहब को समझाता हूं कि ये हाइब्रिड लड़ाई होती क्या है. ये हाइब्रिड लड़ाई है जनाब. अलग अलग लड़ाई के स्पेक्ट्रम के जो हिस्से होते हैं उनको जोड़ जोड़कर ये लड़ाई लड़ी जाती है। इसको पूरी गवर्नमेंट लड़ती है। हर एक छोटा जेस्चर जो होता है
पूरा
सरकार
देश
का,
मिलकर
वो
लड़ता है,
उससे
क्योंकि
लड़ा जाता
पूरी
है।
जो दुश्मन देश है वो भी हमारे ही देश के लोगों को लेकर ये लड़ रहे हैं, हमारे ही खिलाफ, भारत के खिलाफ भारतीयों का ये इस्तेमाल कर रहा है, और हमारे देश के कई लोग उनके साथ शामिल भी हो जाते हैं। जनरल हसनैन, यू मस्ट हैव विटनेस्ड इट फर्स्ट हैंड सर।
Absolutely. So many overground workers unnecessarily, being motivated from the other side by the kind of social media messaging, the kind of psychological warfare going on at all times. Magar, I think after 2019, it has taken us time. The COVID problem came in the middle, for which we had a gap of almost 2 years. But the work has gone on steadily. And the fact that the Amarnath Yatra, I was in Kashmir 10 days or 12 days ago, and I went there to review the security aspects from a disaster point of view. You can imagine the amount of attention the government of India is paying to ensure safety and security, both things. It's for this reason that you've had 350,000 or more pilgrims Yatris being able to go up to the holy cave. Then besides that, this million-dollar question which you've asked about Kashmiri Pandits, I still, in my opinion, it may be a little premature
In fact, I'll come to that point in just a bit. I want to delve on it and stay on it for some time. But Irfan Hafiz Loan, these pro-Pakistan voices, at least they've been silenced. Or is this silence tactical? Such elements will crawl out of the woodwork depending on what happens in 2024 elections. You want to remove AFSPA today. Sir, why don't you tell Pakistan to stop sending terrorists today?
See, what I'm trying to say is that if there is AFSAFA, if there is PSA, if there is Disturbed Area Act, if people are languishing in jails, if there are target killings...
Sir, I've asked you for a list of names of people languishing in jail, sir.
Kashmir is not normal. Whatever reason, Gaurav, Kashmir
No, why
is not
whatever
normal.
reason? ये पाकिस्तान को इतना कवर फायर क्यों दे रहे हैं? पाकिस्तान स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड रैडिकल इस्लामिस्ट टेरर को, I am sorry, I'm looking at it from the prism of my country. My country is being attacked by Pakistan through radical Islamist terrorists. Why would you give cover fire to them?
Come out from this monologue, please. I say the security concern is appreciable. But we must understand, rightly, General Hooda a number of times said that military action is okay. But Kashmir requires a political settlement. He too is a man in, he too served as an army general. So I mean to say security concern is appreciable. But we need to look it through the prism of humanity, through the prism of political resolution. We must understand Vajpayee's formula, Insaniyat, Jamhuriyat, Kashmiriyat. We must
उस फॉर्मूला से सोल्यूशन तो अभी तक निकला नहीं, टेररिज्म भी कम नहीं हुआ था, वो इंसानियत जमहूरियत करते करते हमारी पार्लियामेंट पर भी अटैक हो गया था, अभी बालाकोट की बॉम्बिंग हुई है। सर आप समझा करो, आप समझा करो,
कश्मीर पे कहीं वार्ता हुई, वाजपेयी जी ने हुर्रियत से बात की, पाकिस्तान से
वाजपेयी जी की पीठ में जब छुरा भोंका था पाकिस्तान में 550 सिपाही मर गए थे। नो जनरल हसनैन, ये जो कश्मीरियत जमहूरियत और ये सब बहुत हो गया ना, ऑल दीज ईयट्स, नो होल्ड ऑन, इंसानियत जमहूरियत एंड कश्मीरियत इज फाइन, इट्स ऑल फाइन, बट डू नॉट फॉरगेट जनरल हसनैन, आई एम सॉरी, Vajpayee was stabbed in the back. He went to Lahore. They did a Kargil. 530 soldiers made the supreme sacrifice of their lives. The security grid was weakened and our country suffered for close to half a decade in Kashmir after that. So don't quote Kashmiriyat, Insaniyat, Jamhuriyat when lives are being lost. General Hussain, sir.
See, Gaurav, to take this argument a little further, Irfan साहब तो कह रहे हैं कि I am a general and I look at it from a security point of view. शायद वो भूल गए कि मैं वहाँ कितने अरसे में से रहा हूँ कश्मीर में, and my way of working was always comprehensive. कभी military तरीके से काम नहीं किया मैंने. And the army as such understands the overall environment.
Yes.
हम कभी भी इसको security point of view से नहीं देखते हैं. मगर आज आपको शायद मालूम नहीं हो, आपको शायद नहीं मालूम हो कि अभी भी वहाँ पर networks कायम हैं, फाइनेंशियल के नेटवर्क्स कायम है, अभी भी ड्रग्स वहां पर आ रहे हैं और इन्फिल्ट्रेशन तो अभी भी हो रहा है. 15 इन्फिल्ट्रेटर्स तो अभी हाल ही में पिछले 2 महीने के अंदर आए हैं यहाँ पर, क्योंकि मारे भी गए हैं वहां।
उन पर नहीं बोलेंगे इरफान लोन, बिल्कुल नहीं बोलेंगे उन पर।
ठीक है, और उसके बाद जो माइनॉरिटीज के खिलाफ टारगेटिंग हुई है, जो साउथ ऑफ पीर पंजाल में जो रजौरी के इलाके में टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटी हुई है, इसकी भी बात करिए ना कभी, और तब कहिए कि नॉर्मल हुई है वहां।
I want to bring in Salman Nizami into this conversation. Salman Nizami, this change that you see, is this permanent or is this tactical just to see who wins in 2024? Depending on who wins in 2024, this pro-Pakistan lobby, talk to Pakistan lobby, it could get activated once again in 2024.
Well, as I said, it's a welcome step, but it would be premature, like you said, to say that all is well in Kashmir, because the ground reality is there is still insecurity in Kashmir.
True.
As General Saab rightly said, that we witnessed 2-3 attacks on migrant laborers recently. Pakistan is still active. They are trying their best to send terrorists, to disturb the atmosphere. But every Kashmiri wants a new Kashmir to emerge, where we can see normalcy, where we can witness development, where we can witness peace. Nobody wants stone pelting to be, in future to be happen. But we want change. Kashmiris want change. We want peace. We don't want terrorism. We don't want stone pelting. We don't want guns. We want to see Kashmir, a new Kashmir, where peace, prosperity, and development will happen.
General Hasnain, it's a very positive thought development. It's also very positive to see that no stone pelting is taking place. There are no hartal calls coming from the Hurriyat. Schools aren't being shut. And, wasn't this a part of a strategy? Burn down schools so that and give these hartal calls so that students are available for stone pelting, and then those radicalized elements, give them guns, turn them into terrorists of future. This strategy of Pakistan and some in India peddling that Pakistan agenda, has that strategy flopped, or is this only a tactical retreat for that strategy, sir?
See, Gaurav, there is no doubt that the security forces, the intelligence agencies put together, have done a marvelous job in neutralizing many of these networks which were functioning in stone throwing through finances, through drugs. And the age of the stone throwers, some of the leaders, was as low as 11 years and 12 years. Imagine. You and I are fully aware of that. Now, that situation is no longer persistent today. And so that is a huge achievement on the part of the government and the various agencies. But there is no permanence about it. Because right at the beginning of the program, you mentioned it yourself, that there is no end to the aspect of radicalization within Jammu and Kashmir. And it is through the source of radicalization that these elements keep emerging. Friday prayers and things like that, Friday sermons, these are the places from where these sentiments arise and bring back all these elements among the stone throwers, etc., to carry out anti-national acts. Until there's a permanent end to this radicalization, I don't foresee a complete normalization in Kashmir.
General, I have a question for you, and I wanted to ask you this for a long time. All these elements who radicalize youth, whether it's done in madrasas or it's done, from the pulpit of a mosque or it's done somewhere else, why can't the security forces go after these elements wherever they may have come from? Whether they've come from across the border, whether they've come from a state in the rest of our country, why can't such elements be arrested, NSA put on them and put them in jail?
A lot of Gaurav, you're right. A lot of this has been done in the recent past. But you have to, I think everyone needs to understand, India is a democracy. India is still comparatively, in terms of, looking at its security, doesn't follow the Israeli kind of doctrine of getting after everything proactively and targeting and impinging. We do it through soft power to a great extent. But I do agree with you, it could be done. But the coercive action of that kind may have a more lasting effect in terms of psychological issues and things like that. We have tried the softer route, but I'm sure if the softer route doesn't finally work out, the coercive methods will have to be used. I'm happy to see that today, many of the methodologies of counter-radicalization have come to the fore.
You know,
they
because
are
imagine
working,
Kashmir.
They are succeeding.
Yes,
to a
sir.
great extent.
Kashmir had gone, you know, from that time, Irfan Hafiz Loan, I'm sure you remember, mosque loudspeakers were used for that Ralev, Galev, Chalev kind of slogans, telling Kashmiri Pandits to run away from the valley and leave their women behind or convert to Islam. I hope you realize that was a black spot in Kashmir's history. I hope you also realize that the real test of Kashmiriyat, sir, and this Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb that we hear so much about is Kashmiri Hindus should get back to the valley to follow their religion, they follow their way of life. Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb cannot be a one-way street, sir.
Yes, we want restoration of Kashmiri brotherhood. That is really our identity.
That should have been the first thing on your
whatever
mind.
happened, that was barbaric. Listen. I'm simply saying, see, Gaurav, being a nationalist, people make mockery of me. They laugh at me. They say you talk a lot about your country, and see the Kashmir, which is with our neighbor. They have that very Kashmir. They have their own prime minister. They have president.
अरे
They
सर
have
वो
assembly
नौकर
there.
है
They have their
पाकिस्तानियों
own
के
Supreme Court.
you they have a prime minister सर सर क्या बात कर रहे हो वो नौकर है वो पाकिस्तान के नौकर है वो चाइना के नौकर है सर दिमाग खोलो अपना सर I mean
उनके पास राष्ट्रपति, उनके पास प्रधानमंत्री, जो उनके पास कश्मीर है,
जो सूबेदार के नीचे काम करता है पाकिस्तान आर्मी के सूबेदार का नौकर है वहां का प्राइम मिनिस्टर सर दिमाग खोलो अपना
है, आपके पास यूटी है, जरा इस बात को समझिए, किसको हम
भगवान क्या सर really General Hasnain I have last 30 seconds on the show I do not want to respond to this General Hasnain you want prime minister like in Pakistan occupied Kashmir really General Hasnain sir
if Pakistan occupied Kashmir की बात करेंगे इरफान साहब तो then it's actually laughable. You should be comparing it with some other entity somewhere else जहां पर कोई democracy है and things like that. But looking across the line of control, if you today do a survey within Pakistan occupied Kashmir, I can tell you almost everyone will say they would rather join with Jammu and Kashmir this side rather than remain as a part of Pakistan. This is a reality today. Have you seen the state of the economy? Have you seen the state of the human rights within Kashmir, within Pakistan today at the moment? I don't think this argument can gel at all, Irfan Saab.
But maybe Irfan Saab would want to go across and take a look firsthand of what, and Salman Nizami, I'm sorry I've run out of time on this part of the show, but maybe you would have liked to enlighten Irfan, but maybe in the days to come, we will track the story very closely. But do remember my words: this so-called Prime Minister of Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, mark my words, he salutes a Subedar of the Pakistan Army. That is where he stands in the pecking order. We will get you more on that story in the days, weeks, and months ahead. I've run out of time on India First this evening. Abha Bakaya comes up next with Business Today. Stay with us.
In politics, everyone has an opinion.